Will this happen? Yes, I would assert that it will happen. Just like the internet happened, it will continue to evolve and connect all of us on this kind of information. Let me pause a second and say, who are you? Who are you? You are very important in making this vision be real. You're part of a network of friends and professionals all around the world. You're connected through geography and geographic information. Some of you from the transportation field, some of you from survey field, some of you from geology, some of you from climate, some of you from environment. Yet you have a common language, this information system foundation. And your work is, at least in part, about providing geographic knowledge to address societal challenges. Your work already provides many benefits in the stovepipe segments or sectors that you are commissioned to accomplish in education, in economic recovery, in mapping, in military, in agriculture, in science. These mission applications are where GIS has come from. But there's something else today happening, which is your collective information is beginning to take form in the form of a new societal kind of information infrastructure. Let's look at some of the examples of your work and your colleagues from other places. Some of you are working at environmental change monitoring, tracking what's occurring from polar ice changes to polar bear tracking, forest changes, ocean monitoring, and the like. Natural resource management, extraction industries, carbon accounting, looking under the earth for new energy resources, tracking groundwater, etc. So we are looking at the consequences of environmental change, particularly climate change, using GIS to simulate what might happen and how habitats will change. Will we move upslope or up latitude? For certain species, this is simply impossible. The impacts of global climate change on the biological world will require us to move from conservation strategies, preservation strategies for conservation, to horticultural strategies. We'll have to replant plants. We'll have to move them from place to place. We'll have to become gardeners of the planet, or species will certainly die. We'll become the zoologists and horticulturalists of the planet. There's no choice for it. I mean, it's too late. The change is occurring. And I hate to accept it like that, but it's clear that that's our future. GIS will have a role there for defining where should we plant these species, both in the animal and plant world. We also must find new sources for energy, renewable energy, wind, solar, and thermal, hydro. We have to change. And GIS is playing a major role there already. We also have to design our cities and buildings more efficiently. And GIS is playing a role there as well. We have to manage our utilities, smart grid approaches for water conservation, etc., etc. We have to manage land, and well, in Western Europe and North America, we have well-developed cadastral systems. The rest of the world doesn't. And it's very clear that a fundamental foundation for sustainable development is having a modern cadastral system. Without it, we don't have accountability. Without accountability, we don't have it. And transportation systems, designing them where they should best be located and then managing them efficiently. And defense and national security, likewise, keeping the terrorists at bay, in our communities away. GIS is providing a fabric for that as well. In the last couple of years, particularly, we've seen planning and responding to natural disasters, whether it's tsunamis or fires or earthquakes, like in Haiti, or the Iceland volcanic eruption. GIS has something to play in all of these worlds. Finally, in my country, to some extent in England, we're seeing a kind of explosion in something new, which is government transparency communicated to citizens by way of maps. President Obama, Vice President Biden committed to the American public that they would show where the money is going. This $1 trillion that we spent on stimulus is not just about bridges to nowhere. No. Little dots on maps are now exposed on the web. Each dot has full information about the projects. And citizens can go in their neighborhood and check them out and then report back to the federal government, this is a very funny project, or this is a good project. This connection between what government is spending money on and where the needs are, where the eyes of the citizens see the needs are, is a very important step in the evolution of democracy. Big safety. How can we connect government policy to where needs are? Needs maps and also need expenditures are on our future horizon. And then opening data up through government portals, similar to what you're doing here in Europe with Inspire. GIS as a national government initiative is blossoming out in many locations. And while this discussion has been going on for decades, we finally have the technology to realize it. In China, for example, they've implemented a massive system that brings all of their different departments together. Water departments, soils departments, mapping agencies, utility agencies are all integrating their information into one national system. And same in Abu Dhabi, our friends in the UAE. And likewise, finally the U.S. is getting their act together with respect to central government. And then there's Inspire, which is a long story, legislative story, who's bringing about a kind of transformation of vision and interoperability across the United States. The European Environmental Agency is one of the key players here, where they have hundreds of labs who are being put into cloud environmental settings with information shared, looking at everything from beach pollution to toxics in the environment. And their leadership here as being one of the first Inspire compliant organizations is breathtaking. Geospatial data is growing. We're doing more measurement. Like I said before, it's exponentially growing, and this is healthy for us. We're basically measuring everything that changes and moves and tracking it. Not always all together, but it's at least being measured. And the new technologies to do this measurement are breathtaking, and we see a lot of them here at this conference. From LiDAR to imagery to GPS, and now a new source, crowdsourcing. Every citizen is a sensor. That's an interesting notion. Observation data, bringing it back into these government systems. At the same time, the IT technology, the GIS technology to manage this evolution of measurement is also coming into place. It's evolving ultimately onto the internet for connecting. Not just the internet, but certainly it's the fabric or the new platform on which geo will exist. And within this framework, we're seeing more attention to science. GIS is becoming time-aware. GIS is becoming more analytic. GIS is merging with other science-based development environments like Python and open source tools associated with it. And it's becoming 3D. Not simply 3D visualization, but 3D data models and 3D analytic tools that allow us to analyze geo information in 3D. This is new. So becoming multidimensional.